welcome back to the channel that knows nothing. I'm Jim and let's get to it. So today we are diving on into the Fandom Book Tag, so let's get into it. The first question in this tag is Doctor Who, and that is pick a book cover that is mostly blue. So I decided to go with Truly Devious. I've not read this book. I'm quite keen to read it at some point. I actually picked up the fourth one, I believe, and I was like, this looks good, and I realized it was the fourth one and I was stupid, so I went and bought the first one. The next question in this tag is Marvel, and that is pick a book cover that is mostly red. So I decided to go with Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I actually really do like this book. I have not read the second two. It's very interesting. It's very messed up in a lot of ways. It reminds me of sort of the vibes I went into reading The Hunger Games with, since a lot of people die in this, and yeah, it's very interesting. For those who have not read it, I would recommend it, but also, you know, step with caution because it is very messed up. The next one in this tag is The Simpsons, and that is pick a book with a mostly yellow cover, and I decided to go with The Little Prince, or The Art of the Movie. It's very fun. If you've not watched The Little Prince, I really recommend it because it is such a cool little animation, and also the story behind it is amazing. If you've not read The Little Prince, you definitely should, and you should definitely watch it as well because it's pretty much almost as good as the book. The next question in this tag is Harry Potter, and that is pick a book that features magic. Now I decided to go in a slightly different area with this one, and I decided to pick Serpent and Dove. This I really did enjoy. It was a different take on magic, and I liked the vibe that it created when I was reading it. It is so messed up. I actually need to read the next two books. When I first read this one, it was the only one that was out, and yeah, I need to pick up the slack because I actually did really like it, and it's just it's a journey. That's all I can say. The next question in this tag is Sherlock, and that is pick a book with a character that features a psychopath or a sociopath. Now, I've not really read many books where it is blatantly obvious that this person is either one of those things. Like, I've not really read many murder mystery, you know, the killer is crazy type books that kind of are part of Sherlock, I would think. So I decided to go with the person that I think is the most messed up person I've ever read. I decided to go with the Darkling from the Grishaverse. He is like a pretty messed up dude, and he just gets worse. And also, massive spoiler, he comes back? What? And then, yeah, I don't know why she brought him back. It was very annoying. I was just like, we spent so much time trying to get rid of him. He was crazy and messed up. And what he did to Genya, I just cannot get over that. It's just like, that keeps me up at night. Like, what the fuck? The next question in this tag is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and that is pick a badass heroine. And I decided to go with someone slightly different, and maybe people don't know. So I picked Alex from the Medadorian Chronicles. I have not read the rest, but I really did like her in the first one. I thought she was just kind of something different, but also something we've probably read before. And she's just she's a fun girl, and I love the trio that is in this book, and I should read it. I'm just a terrible reader at the moment. The next question in this tag is Breaking Bad, and that is pick a book that revolves around drugs. And I had to go with Six of Crows. I think this is the only book that I've kind of read that has drugs in it. You know, those sorts of books I don't really reach for as much. Like, if it's in a fantasy world, I'm just like, oh, Well, it's fantasy, so I don't really care. But yeah. The next question in this tag is Game of Thrones, and that is pick a book that has dragons in it. So I decided to go with something that's not so obvious. This is more of a younger reader book. So I decided to go with The Last Dragon Chronicles. I loved this series when I was growing up. It was very fun. The dragons in it are kind of, it's like a back and forth, like they are real, but they are also like not real. It's kind of like you have to work things out, but they're clay dragons that one of the characters make, and they are great, and they have their own little personalities, and it's just really cute, and I love it. And I should really go back and finish it, because I think I only got 5 books in before I got sidetracked and became obsessed with other things. The next one coming up in this tag is Supernatural, and that is pick a book where the main character comes back to life. And I have 2 examples for you. I feel like I should not really say who it is. This one might be more obvious to some. Actually, they're probably both obvious to some. They're both quite mainstream. This one annoyed me very much so, because it made no sense. And the same with this one. Just why? I am a firm believer in, if you want to kill off a character, just do it. Like, even if they're a main character, even if they are beloved, just do it. Let the people in the book and the reader mourn the person. Don't just play with emotions. It's not shocking to kill a character and then bring them back. It's just not. Just do it. Commit to it. The next question in this tag is Charmed, and that is pick a book about sisters. Now, I'm quite annoyed because I haven't seen sisters done well in many books that I have read. I don't know if they exist out there in the universe, who knows. And it annoys me because I'm quite close to my sister, and I wish that I could read that in literature, but apparently it doesn't exist. They all just hate each other or grow to love each other, and it's very annoying. I just want the immediate love there. Anyway, for this question, I have picked The Cruel Prince, which I feel like eventually, over the course of time, Jude and Taryn do eventually like each other, and they don't hate each other, but in this one, it's very much hate. And you know what? I did not like Taryn throughout most of the trilogy. She was annoying, and I just don't know how you could like be a shit person to family. I just don't get it. The next one coming up in this tag is Percy Jackson, and that is pick a book that is based on ancient Greek mythology, and I just could not pick The Song of Achilles. Like, this book, so good and very gay, and it ticks a lot of boxes for me, because I love that movie Troy, that was like my go-to movie for a very long time. I love ancient Greek mythology. Like, obviously I love my Percy Jackson, and I love to dive into books that are like so similar to that. And yeah, just there's a lot to like about mythology, because it's just so interesting, and there's always a lesson to be learnt there, and there's always twists and turns, and it's always tragic, and we love that on this channel. The next one coming up in this tag is The Vampire Diaries, and that is pick a book that features vampires. And so I had to go with Twilight on this one, because they are pretty much the main characters in this, apart from the werewolves. Well, I've read books that have vampires in them, but not necessarily as the central characters. They're more like side characters, and I feel like it made sense to pick this one since they are the main problem, always. Twilight is what it is. If you're gonna judge it, whatever. Like, it's some trash, you know, it's not perfect trash, but it's like some nice thing if you want to, like, you know, lock your brain away and just be like, you know, have fun. The next one in this tag is Heroes, and that is pick a book that has humans with powers in it, and I decided to go with the Elemental series. This, I feel like, wasn't very much known where I grew up in school. There was like, I think there was about 4 of us, including me, that read it and really loved it. It is the trashiest thing I have ever read, which is most things, but I do not remember the storyline. I could not tell you what it was, so I feel like I should go back and read it. I remember like bits and pieces. I remember each of the brothers had like an elemental power, which I thought was very cool at the time. I still think it's cool. I think anything to do with the elements and like bringing them forward is amazing. That's why I love Avatar so much. But yeah, I feel like I need to dive back into this. I need to dive back into so many of the books I grew up with and just like relive them. The next question in this tag is The Fault in Our Stars, and that is pick a book about cancer. I have no idea why this is a question in a book tag, but anyway, I decided to go with something that wasn't Fault in Our Stars since that is the question, and I also really do not like that book. I think it has a lot of issues. Anyway, I decided to go with Zack and Mia, which I think plays more on what cancer and going through that process is. Like, it's not a fun time, and I feel like Fault in Our Stars, you know, romanticize cancer in a way, and I feel like this one does it less so. And it's just sad. I've seen people in my life go through cancer, and like seeing someone be like right about that, I just feel like it's a bit problematic, and it's just sad, and I don't like to bring it up too much because I get hate on it because people are like, but Fault in Our Stars is so good. I'm like, John Green is problematic, but alright. The next one in this tag is Pretty Little Liars, and that is pick a book that has blackmail in it, and the only book that I could think of was Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda, which I do not have because I have lent it to someone. And I find that book problematic too. Like, I like it. I don't like it because I think if you were being blackmailed and your friends found out about it and like all the things that were going on, it wasn't great that Simon lied about it, but clearly he was not ready to come out yet. Like, being forced out of the closet is something that, you know, no one wants to go through, or like feeling the pressure of that. I feel like if his friends were better friends, they would have been like, you know what happened was shit, we're so sorry, but also what you did was wrong. But then again, they are high school students, probably wouldn't, you know, think of that. But I'm still really annoyed that his friends were mad at him. Like, he wasn't ready. He shouldn't be forced out of the closet when he's not ready. Like, yes, what he did was like a bit of a shit thing, but also like, grow up and get over it. You're together now, can't you just be happy? And then just not be like, you know what you did was shit. He was being blackmailed, but okay. Okay, whatever. Next up in this tag is Once Upon a Time, and that is pick a book that is inspired by fairy tale characters, and I couldn't not go with The Land of Stories. I love this series. I think I've spoken about it before. I think I just hit this book up anytime fairy tales come up, but only because it's really good, and I feel like when, you know, people see Chris Colfer's name, they're not just gonna take him seriously because he was like an actor first. I'm just like, come on, he's cool and creative. Like, you know, get behind this book, it's fun. And I just like it because, you know, the characters that we have grown up with and that we know are just like, just told in a different light, and it's so good, and I freaking love Red Riding Hood. Like, every time they remake Red Riding Hood, they make her out to be this badass woman with an axe that's gonna kill a wolf and all that other shit. I'm like, I love that. He went in a completely different like direction with that. Like, good on you. Love it. Next up in this tag is Futurama, and that is pick a book that has robots in it, and I decided to go with the Maze Runner series, which I do not have anymore because I hated it so much. And I picked it because of the Grievers in it. Yes, they are not completely robotic, but they are part robotic, and I don't really read that many books with robots in it. The next question in this tag is Merlin, and that is pick a series that you wish had gone on longer. And I decided to go with Lightfall. This is the first one. The second one is out now, so you should get behind it if you did not know. Anyway, it's just a very cute little story with amazing art in it. You just can't not love a comic series. Like, you just can't. Anyway, it is a new series and it's coming out very slowly, so I think that's why I'm just like, I wish it was longer. Like, I wish this was thicker so I could like pace myself through it, but I'm normally like, bleh, more, give me more. And then the books aren't out. Yeah, that's very sad. The next question in this tag is Grimhole, and that is pick a book that has monsters in it. And I decided to go with the Shadow Demons from the Grishaverse because I don't know what else to pick. Next question in this tag is Hunger Games, and that is pick a book where the children are murdered / killed. And I had to go with Harry Potter on this one. This is the Goblet of Fire, if you did not realize what version it was. Yeah, I feel like as Harry Potter goes on, I'm like, why are all these children dropping like flies? Like, thanks. I mean, admittedly, it is war, and I did expect some characters to die, but I don't like that it was like, children! Like, what the fuck? The next one in this tag is Frozen, and that is pick a book where winter occurs in it, or climate change. And I decided to go with In the Time We Lost by Carrie Hope Fletcher. I have my issues with this book. But yeah, if the cover did not give it away, something happens and I shouldn't say because it's kind of a spoiler. Anyway guys, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, subscribe because it is always nice, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!